Spending Freezes, this is Julie and welcome to another Spending Freeze Scraplift. Today I am scraplifting the amazing Tracy Banks, who posts under the name Mercy Tiara. Now the first thing that I need to tell you is you will have seen that I already had my heart cut out and that black line around it is actually stitching, so I'd already done that before I started making this layout. Now if you do watch Tracy's videos, she hand cuts her heart and all the smaller hearts, or some of the hearts. I think she might have some die cuts, but she hand cuts some hearts. I actually did all mine on my silhouette. Now obviously you don't have to do that. The reason that I did that in this case is because, you know me, I like to, get the most value out of my supplies, and I really liked the outside of that paper, so I wanted to not ruin it by folding it or cutting into it, so that's why I did that. And then once I had my silhouette out, I thought I might as well use it to cut some hearts. But you can see right now I did decide I didn't want to use the orange ones that I pre-cut, so I am hand cutting from a different paper and just using the ones I already had cut out as a stencil. So in terms of the product that I'm using for this page, I'm still working with the kit that I made. I think it was the Spending Freeze 101. I think it was the second lesson that I made the kit in, so it's still got a fair bit of product in it. I think pretty much everything on this page does come from that kit. And the way that I chose which colours to use, it was actually that orange strip of paper that you can see I'm using in the background actually has balloons and they say happy birthday, and seeing as how this was a birthday layout and that the bit that I had left was actually the perfect size for this, so that's why I went with that, and I sort of chose the colours around that. And that's also obviously why I got rid of those other orange hearts, because they weren't really they didn't really match. In the other times, one or two times that I've used that paper, I've just used it probably as matting, and it's been such a small amount that you can't tell that it's kind of a birthday themed thing. But in this case I thought I might as well make the most of the odd bit of theme product that I have. So now I've got out my sewing machine and I'm going to sew down that strip of paper, and then you'll also see me just sew a packaging strip down to the bottom. So if you know Tracy's work, you'll know that one of her kind of, I guess, signature things that she does quite regularly is outlining. On this page that I'm scraplifting, she outlines with sewing, she outlines with two, I think, different widths of texture. I didn't love the thicker texture as much as I like the thinner texture. That's my personal preference. But I chose not to do the pen outlining myself. I just went with, here I'm about to do it, I went with inking my edges as my method of outlining, which is what I often like to do. But obviously if you like that style with the outlining, she often does give you a few tips as she's going along about how she makes the outlining look nice and steady and things like that. And she'll talk about doing multiple lines so that if it's a bit wonky, it kind of looks wonky on purpose and things like that. So if you know Tracy, again, you'll know that she is on the design team for Hip Kit Club. And so pages like this that are part of her, I guess, design team requirements, you do see quite a lot of product. So even if you're very conscientiously avoiding unboxings and things like that, and especially if you're watching a page that she's making early on, when she's got that particular kit, you do end up still seeing a lot of product, and it can be quite tempting. You can start to go, oh, I want that, whether it is that I want the whole kit or I want that particular paper or that particular set of embellishments or whatever it is. And again, we're trying to avoid doing that as Spending Freezes. I certainly had a period a couple of years ago where I had a child that was quite unwell, and I couldn't leave him at home for long periods of time alone, so I was home quite a lot and not in a state of mind where I was doing much creating, and I was spending quite a bit of time watching YouTube videos purely, I guess, as entertainment. I think more than one of the people that I was watching at the time were on the Hip Kit Club design team, and so I really did find that temptation for a while about particular products, and I did consider getting the kit. For a while there, you other Australians and probably from other countries that aren't American know that it can get quite expensive to get these kits shipped overseas. The exchange rate is often against us. Postage is quite horrendous, so you've got to have quite a decent budget to feel that you can have these things shipped over to you. And I've always felt that when the day comes I've got the budget that I can afford it, I'm not going to have the time to be confident that I'll be able to use that sort of product every month. So that's certainly one of the main reasons that I never have subscribed to a kit. But just in that, just for a couple of tips of what I do now to avoid that kind of temptation, and especially with Tracy's videos, they're a little bit long. I don't even really feel like I've got the time to sit for half an hour and watch a video and do nothing else. So I tend to think of only really doing them. Sometimes I actually scrapbook while I'm watching a video, and most of us, you know, we've got tablets, we can watch videos on our phones. Most of us are probably in a position that we can sometimes do that. I actually call it scrapping with friends because I don't have flesh and blood friends that I scrapbook with at the moment. Sometimes I'll just be doing my own thing, and on the computer I'll have Mercy, Tiara or Shamel or, you know, someone like that scrapping away with me. And I do find I get a bit of inspiration from them as I'm watching, maybe for my next page or even sometimes for the page that I'm on. But I'm certainly not so focused on the product that I'm starting to yearn to go out and buy those particular supplies. The other sorts of things that you can do, when I watched this particular video, I was fussy cutting a whole page worth of cameras, which you might have seen I'm using on my holiday album to Melbourne at the moment. So anything like that, that if you can do another little thing that doesn't require undivided attention, so whether it's fussy cutting or a bit of hand stitching on a page, if you do that sort of thing, even painting your nails, just enough to take your undivided attention away from the screen and away from the product, but you certainly are still glancing up and watching what they're doing, how they're placing things, you're listening to any tips that they're sort of giving you. And you can see as I've been sort of rabbiting on that I've decided where to place all my hearts. I've chosen that journaling card to put there on the left, and my title is a very simple discreet 48, which is obviously the number that my husband was turning. I'd added those sequins and I'd got to a point where I kind of thought I was finished, but I wasn't quite sure. So this is now the next day, and sometimes I find I do that lately. If I get to a point where I'm not quite sure if a page is finished, I'll just leave it on the desk and go off and do my jobs or make dinner or whatever I'm up to. And I think maybe it's even my subconscious kind of works on it in the background, and the next day I knew straight away that what I needed on Tracy's page, she had some black dimensional elements, which might have been like, I think, foam stickers or something like that. So I kind of knew straight away that what I wanted to do was get some wood veneers and paint them black and just get that sort of vibrant pop of black on my page the way that Tracy did. So guys, we're coming to the end of, the finish of the page and the end of the video. So once again, thanks so much for being with me on this Spending Freeze journey. I really hope that you find these videos useful, and let me know what tips you do try out and do find useful, or any tips of your own that you might have, and I will catch you guys in the next video.